Hi and welcome back to 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗧. Today guys, we're going to be jumping down into the world of Cardano, taking a look at the most recent price action and what I would expect to happen next. As I get into this video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be staying up to date with everything that we do here at 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗏𝗧. If you haven't yet joined us in Discord though, check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community, talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. And I'm a little bit under the weather still, so I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible whilst keeping, hopefully, coughing to a minimum. So let's just get right on into it. Cardano paired up with USDT on the hourly chart, and Binance is our data source. And to kind of take a look at this and just kind of reflect on our current positioning, we obviously had our high up here at 41.36, this local high point, C-wave high up here, and we are looking at this corrective action to the downside. It is minor. There's nothing major going on here, and we might actually have to push up a little bit further before we if we actually do move down. Let's go ahead and just reflect on a couple of things in here. So to start with, we can see here that we have this kind of structured move from this low down here at 39.21 up to the high of 40.7, and then if we actually have this, take a look at this correction right now, we can see that there's a possibility of pushing up more towards the 41.27, which is right up here again, touching on this area on the slightly higher side. That would look something like this, where we kind of come up here and then down and then up a little bit. Now, with this, it's not a guarantee. We do have a bit of a mixed bag, and at the moment, the momentum isn't really strong for ADA here, and we can kind of see volume is decreasing quite a bit as we are trying to push up a little bit here, and it's not overly great. You can see how volumes are just overall just diminishing. There's not a lot of activity occurring. This is represented in that stochastic RSI with momentum shifting back to the upside, but it is moving quite fast without doing too much price discovery or recovery. So we want to be a little bit cautious here. Now, we're oversold on the 1 hour and the 4 hour, but overbought on the 8 daily and weekly. So we know that there's a bigger correction coming. Okay, so this shouldn't be a surprise to anyone at this point. So the obvious one is that we've come here down to our lows, up into the highs, and then down a little bit. I'm just a little bit cautious that this particular wave count, which is more bearish than bullish, we are kind of, ignoring the momentum shift on the 4-hour chart. So although this is something that we should be kind of considering, I think before we can actually move down, we have to move up a little bit. Whether we do hit the double top kind of scenario, it's going to be interesting to see. But I would expect that we'd have some kind of movement to the upside over today, just to kind of lift the 1 hour and 4 hour stochastic RSIs just a little bit higher. Therefore, we may adjust the lows. At the moment, we're talking about 38.67, but it's subject to change depending on how high we might push. So just keeping a close eye on it. I think we are likely to move down quite a bit, but before that can happen, we do kind of have to see a little bit more green in the market, just a little bit pushed to the upside. Now, that's just on the hourly chart. As we kind of come up into our 4 hourly, we can again see that there's still a lot of shifting momentum to the downside. So we are going to be really, really cautious here. The obvious, and specifically on this 4 hour chart, is that we are doing these higher highs. Okay, we can see that within our trend line here, and we are doing the higher lows right up here. Now, these have a tendency to break down. This should be no surprise, as we talk about this a lot when it comes to BTC. Now, on our larger time frames, such as our weekly and our daily and our 8-hourly time frames, there's a need for a big drop to the downside. And these are not small time frames. These are quite meaty time frames as well, so do expect a pretty significant shift down. I don't know how long this is going to take to play out. We might have to push up a little bit higher before we do actually break on down, but the breakdown is inevitable. Okay, everything has to kind of be balanced out, and we can't just go up, 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 and up without having some kind of corrective structure to the downside. Now, you can see this on the stochastic RSI here, that we are looking at just continuing this move to the downside briefly, but like I said, I'm expecting upward moves at least over the weekend, but next week maybe will be more bearish. Volume here is obviously decreasing, and if I zoom out, you can see the volumes are very, very insignificant, and we are going up into these higher highs and higher lows. Okay, so not looking overly promising when we zoom out a little bit. The RSI is at an interesting level here, and we are seeing, I think if I actually throw this on, yeah, some there are some bearish divergences in here. Specifically, as we can see up here, there was a little bull one just at the bottom here, but obviously we broke down. On a larger time frame, if I were to bring this to a daily, we can see that right up here or right down here, we have some lower momentum shifts, but price moving up and vice versa. So we're both kind of getting bull signals and bear signals getting thrown at us on these timeframes, on the divergences. Now, if I remove that and just focus in on that RSI, what do we see? We can see that momentum is shifting down. Okay, we can grab my trend line here. So momentum is shifting down here. Okay, and whilst we're doing that, we're getting new higher highs here. This basically is telling us that we are losing momentum and losing strength to the move to the upside. So again, we want to be really, really cautious. It's not looking overly promising there. On the volume side, again, volume is decreasing, which is why you're getting that momentum shift on the oscillators. And you can see that we're overbought now on the daily, but I still think there's a little bit more higher moves before we can actually pull on down. Okay, so being cautious. Now on our weekly time frame, you can see that we have tested the trend line up the top here once, twice. This is now the third. We did have this adjusted here, and obviously we broke through it, so we just adjust the trend line. That's the beauty of these trend lines. You can just keep adjusting them. It's awful. It's awful, guys. Anyway, nonetheless, we can see up here we're testing this range. We're overbought. We are below the 200 EMA, below the 50 EMA. Now, if I take the stochastics off, throw the volumes in, volumes are decreasing. So what do we see here? We can see very clearly the first couple of weeks, there was an increase in volume. That was basically to the beginning of January. Since then, volume has been decreasing as price has been pushing up. So again, we do not have the right volume profiles to think that we are bullish right now. From an RSI point of view, we're climbing, but it's not overly too much to worry about from an RSI point of view. And if we do throw in our divergence indicator here, although I don't like it, I much prefer to spot this myself. We can of course see that there's nothing major to kind of concern ourselves with at this point in time. So overall, everything on ADA is looking like we need a correction to the downside, and I do expect this to be something that we would happen to see probably over the next few weeks as we kind of get into February in a little bit more of a stronger way. I do expect some red and some blood to be spilt over crypto. I'm going to leave this video right there though, guys. If you have found it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and don't forget to join us down in Discord. Until the next one though, have a fantastic day.